You don't lack discipline. You've just trained your mind to quit. Have you ever promised yourself, "This time I'll stay consistent"? You start strong. You feel motivated. You tell yourself, "This is the version of me that finally changes." But then, a few days pass, and everything falls apart. You stop showing up. You lose focus. You go back to old habits. And once again, you feel like you failed. Some people call it laziness. Some say you just don't have discipline. But the truth is, you were never taught how to build it. In a small, quiet village, there lived a young man named Kyle. Kyle had big dreams. He wanted to become stronger, smarter, better than who he was. Every morning, he made a promise to himself. "Today, I will change my life." But by night, he broke that promise. He would skip his work, avoid difficult tasks, choose comfort over effort, and at the end of each day, he felt disappointed in himself. Day after day, the same cycle repeated. Start strong, lose focus, quit, regret, and slowly, Kyle began to believe something dangerous. "I just don't have discipline." Have you ever felt that before? Be honest. Comment discipline if you've ever struggled to stay consistent. One afternoon, tired of failing himself, Kyle walked to the edge of the village. There, he saw an old man carrying buckets of water up a steep hill, back and forth, again and again. No hesitation, no complaint, just steady movement. Kyle watched, confused. "How do you keep doing that every day?" he asked. "Don't you ever feel tired or unmotivated?" The old man smiled. "Of course I do," he replied. "Then why don't you stop?" Kyle asked. The old man looked at him and said, "Because I don't rely on how I feel." Kyle frowned. "What do you mean?" The old man set the buckets down. "Most people think discipline is about motivation," he said, "but motivation comes and goes. If you depend on it, you will always fail." He pointed to the hill. "I don't climb this hill because I feel like it. I climb it because I decided I would." Kyle stood silently. The old man continued, "Every time you quit, you train your mind to believe quitting is normal. Every time you avoid something hard, you make it easier to avoid it again. And every time you choose comfort over effort, you weaken your discipline." Kyle felt those words hit deep because he realized something painful. He wasn't born without discipline. He had trained himself to avoid it. The old man stepped closer. "Discipline is not something you have," he said. "It is something you build through small actions, repeated daily." That night, Kyle couldn't stop thinking. For the first time, he saw the truth. He had been waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel motivated, waiting for the perfect moment, but that moment never came. The next morning, Kyle did something different. He woke up early, not because he felt like it, but because he said he would. He started small. He worked for 1 hour. When he wanted to stop, he didn't. When it felt uncomfortable, he continued. It wasn't easy. Every part of him wanted to quit, but this time, he didn't listen. Days passed, then weeks, and slowly, something began to change. His mind became stronger, his focus improved, his confidence grew. Not because things got easier, but because he stopped giving himself the option to quit. One day, standing in the same place he once felt weak, Kyle realized something powerful. He had become disciplined, not overnight, not through motivation, but through consistency. And that is the truth most people never understand. Discipline is not built in big moments. It is built in the small decisions you make every day. When you choose to continue, even when you don't feel like it. So if you feel like you have no discipline, ask yourself honestly, how often do I quit when it gets hard? How often do I wait for motivation? How often do I choose comfort over growth? Because discipline begins the moment you stop negotiating with yourself. Remember, you don't need to do everything. You just need to do something every single day. Start small, stay consistent, And most importantly, stop quitting. Because the person you want to become is built by the habits you refuse to break. If this story spoke to you, comment "I will not quit" if you're ready to build real discipline. Subscribe to The Broken Hero for stories that don't just motivate you, they transform you.